Hi, everyone. My name is Melissa Parks. I'm one of the co-founders of the Location Independent Therapist community, otherwise known as the LIT community. And today I'm here with one of our members, Samar, who's going to tell us a little bit more about her location independent journey. Samar, I'm going to turn it over to you to give us a little intro about yourself.
Hi everybody. My name is Sámar Khalife Iglesias. I am originally from Puerto Rico, and I grew up a little bit all over the world. And now I'm currently located in Spain, where I work as a clinical psychologist in private practice, both in person and online. And I also teach university courses relating to psychology and sexuality.
Very cool. Okay, I'm sure we could ask lots of questions there just about how you wound up in Spain, for instance. It sounds like there have been a couple different other stories along the road there.
Yeah. So I got to Spain about 14 years ago. One of these things, and I was like, "Oh, let's come here for a year, do a year abroad," and then a year abroad turned into many more than that. And I'm sure that's something that a lot of people can relate to, at least in our community. Yeah, and actually, that's probably the case with a lot of my clients as well that I work with. Yeah, um, yeah, and I kind of came here for love initially as well, so that helps, I guess, or doesn't, depending on on your situation and what the circumstances were, to kind of create a life in a place.
Very cool. And so what about the work you're doing with clients? Do you have like a specific type of client that you focus on or a niche?
Yeah, I guess I do and I don't. So there's a lot of things that I specialized in. So okay, so my graduate studies had a lot to do with family and couples therapy. So
Mhm.
that's kind of where I started out. But then it's true that I also do individual therapy. Um, I think, let's see, the specific type of client. So within that, so I see families and I see couples and I see individuals. But a lot of I guess, maybe the uniting thread, I think, to everything is a little bit of identity. So I'll explain
Mm,
a little bit more. So every
yeah.
family has an identity, and I guess, or maybe what I do in therapy is help them to kind of discover or strengthen their identity as a family, or strengthen
Mm,
the identity as a couple. And that's especially hard if there might be different languages involved or different cultures. Um, so yeah, so it helps to kind of strengthen the identities together, but then also each person's identity individually. And so yeah, a lot of work with that, and a lot of things having to do with culture and sexuality. I think that's a lot other areas where identity kind of comes into play.
Okay. Yeah, it sounds like a lot of like almost like overlapping niches, but like the multicultural piece and the identity piece. It sounds. I mean, I know from my experience. I'm sure from your experience too. Like when you start moving around the world, that identity piece can get a bit messy, and it's probably so helpful for them to have, and especially as a couple or family, to have you there to support them in exploring that.
Yeah, and especially, I mean, there's different reasons why that might come up, but especially kind of being uprooted, right? I think I personally have
Mm,
experienced that, being uprooting like as a child, but also uprooting myself, I guess, in a way. So when you live in a different country, it's like, okay, well, getting in touch with yeah, like, well, what am I bringing to the table, but also, what is it that I want to take on from what I'm learning, and I guess, reconnecting people with their values, or who they'd like to become, and what they'd like to work on. There's a lot of things that play into that.
cool. Yeah, I think there's such a need for that kind of a focus. And I'm sure some of the people who are listening might discover they need that kind of support even themselves as they embark on their location independent journey and take their office on the road with them.
Yeah, especially kind of, and I think somebody who has I guess, the courage to do that in the first place, right? There might be a lot of things that they're very clear on, and then they might find, I don't know, snags along the way. I don't know if that's ever happened to you, but it's definitely happened in my journey.
Mm,
A lot of like
yeah.
roadblocks that I was like, oh, I'm so sure about this, and then, oh, looks like that wasn't it. or it wasn't, but I
Yeah.
had to kind of regroup it a little bit or get in touch with, I don't know, get in touch with myself again and help my clients get in touch with
Yeah.
themselves again, what's important to them to kind of, I guess, um, course correct or find their way back to
Yeah.
their path.
Yeah. I think you're so right. I think in some ways, like, um, it's an added challenge maybe of being a location independent therapist because, um, well, I think anytime you go abroad and it's related to work, like you're going in there with like kind of your professional hat on and, I know what I'm doing. But right? Like when you go into another country, that's not what happens. You really, it's almost like being a kid again. You kind of have to be ready to fumble. And like you said, kind of lose touch with yourself a bit too. So, yeah, yeah. I'm just thinking how it's when you're a location independent therapist, it's navigating that might be an extra challenge too.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm I didn't have that. Yeah, I didn't have that experience because I wasn't a therapist when I first went abroad. So I'm kind of thinking out loud a little bit as we're talking about it. It's about it being an extra challenge. Maybe something we need to talk about more in our lit community and see what
Yeah.
people's experience has been. So I wanted to ask you, like, are you seeing couples and families online as well?
Yes, I am. Right now, okay,
Okay.
so my journey is, well, where I am at the moment is a little bit of a hybrid.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of, it's happened, both teaching has become like a little bit of a hybrid, but also my private practice. So yeah, I see clients, couples and families online, which sounds a bit strange, but actually I've had really successful processes like that, especially, and I think what's been really helpful, I guess, is just thinking about these multicultural, families. And so usually,
Mhm.
families who have, either grown up or been created across cultures, across countries, they're kind of as mobile as we are, as location independent
Yeah.
therapists. So they're location independent families, I guess. And
Yeah.
so it helps to kind of work on things, in spite of the distance. So I've had clients approach me because I was online, or because, I don't know, because I could kind
Mm.
of be, or like working online could be that, like, a way to connect, right, or strengthen their
Yeah.
bond, or I just work through, issues. But while one person being in South America and the other person being in the U.S.,
Okay.
and also specifically, I mean, having to do with, I think, cultural differences within the family, so it's all kind of come into play.
So are they always at a distance, or do you sometimes work with people who are in the same physical location too?
No, yeah. So sometimes, yeah, it's been a mix, I guess. It's
Yeah.
been, yeah, some people kind of like different, like maybe one partner is in one place, the other partner is in another,
Uh,
or but sometimes the family has all been together. Sometimes, well, I see people in Madrid as well, which is where I'm based. I don't know if I
mhm.
mentioned that. I'm based at the
I
moment.
don't think you mentioned a specific
I
city.
don't
Yeah.
think I did. Yes, I'm in Madrid. So sometimes people come in um, to the to the therapy room. I've had also, I've had lots of different types of experiences. I've had, especially
Cool.
nowadays, I've had maybe some people in person, and one family member who happens to be living abroad or working abroad or in a different country, kind of zoom in, just to at least
Mm,
not exclude them right off the bat just because they don't happen to be in Madrid. But yeah,
okay.
so I think what it helps with, I guess, well, right now where I'm at with my hybrid location independent journey, is it helps with
Yeah.
continuity. It helps that, so that
Mm,
if one member of the family isn't there, I mean, isn't present, or isn't doesn't happen to be in the same place, that it doesn't
yeah.
limit them from being able to seek support. And I think that's really important.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's one of the great things for online therapy in general. And it sounds like for the specific clients you work with, it might not be possible for them to have continuity if they couldn't do this online work.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, even here in Madrid, kind of really appreciate that.
Yeah. What about for you? What does it mean? Like, why do you want to be location independent?
Yeah, I guess that's a good question. I think personally, I think it meant flexibility, a lot like freedom, being able to, which is ironic 'cause now I think a lot of people, I mean, I've been in one place for maybe the last few years. But it's kind of, I think already working for yourself or kind of having your own private practice, right? That you might do that to acquire some level of flexibility. But this is just like
Mhm.
flexibility 2.0. This is being able
I like
to say,
that.
no, I need or I want, a week to go visit my brother in Paris. And do I want to leave my clients hanging? No, I would like to support them while I'm there, but I'd like to also. I think when you live abroad for so long, you kind of want family to be. I mean, I don't know. It depends on your relationship with them, but if you can and you enjoy their company, you want to be around them more often. And I think this is kind of for me. This was a way of making it happen. In small doses and in larger
Mm,
doses. Um, yeah.
yeah. Yeah, so it's kind of it sounds like it's to kind of for your, I'm just seeing how it's like it helps you to support your clients and who are in families, but it also helps you to strengthen and maintain your own family relationship.
Exactly, exactly. I think that was
Yeah,
like
I like that.
the main appeal for it.
Do you have any like long term vision of like going on the road for an extended time with your office, or do you prefer those kind of like the shorter trips?
I do. I think it's a little bit more complicated when it's not. It doesn't only depend on you. But I definitely
True.
do. I would. I think at some point, yeah, maybe taking it to different areas or different places. And it's especially complicated for me because my mom is in Puerto Rico, my brothers are all over the place in the U.S. and in France. My
Yeah.
dad is in Lebanon, currently king in Angola. Anyway, so yeah, I don't know. So I guess I'm looking at it like for short bouts for now,
Yeah.
but definitely I think working location independently. Is that an adverb? Can I say that?
Yeah, I think so. It
Is
should be.
is something that I'd really really enjoy. Maybe more so to yeah for like the traveling portion.
Hmm. Yeah. What about like, do you have any words of advice for people who are considering location independence, who are considering, I don't know, let's say either moving abroad with their practice or taking their office on the road or even going into
Yeah,
private practice?
right.
What words of wisdom?
I have a couple of things I think. First of all, is to get support, and by support, I don't necessarily mean hiring people. I think one of the big pushes for me to jump into my own private practice was joining the lit community. And having that support. And I think, I mean, and not that anybody did anything for me, right? But just like knowing, like, okay, I'm not alone. This is like, it's doable. I was still scared. I was terrified. But I think, yeah, so getting support is very important,
Yeah.
and support from other people who might be in different like different levels. I know that when I joined, it wasn't even on the radar. It wasn't even on the radar, and I think that helped me kind of just move forward and not see it as this big impossible obstacle. Um, let's see. Yeah, support. I guess stay connected. That sounds so redundant when we're working online and location dependent. Um, I think definitely, yeah, stay connected in terms of like don't isolate yourself too much, because there's a lot of support. There's a lot of, to be learned from other people, and yeah, one of the things that, so this is a book that I read or that exists, to feel the fear and do it anyway. Whatever it is that you're going to jump into, feel the fear. It's there. It's okay, but do it anyway. I guess that's my
I
biggest
like that.
advice.
Yeah. Well, and I think in the lit community, like that is, you were kind of describing that, right? Like just being okay, like other people are doing this. I think one of the things we were pretty open about, I don't know, like the real life, like what it is behind the scenes to do this work. And yeah, there's fear and imposter syndrome and doubts. And we, yeah, I think you've had that experience, right? It's like we talk about it and we support each other, and you can get feedback if it's something that you need feedback about, or you can, I don't know if you've done one of our hot seat calls yet. Like you
I
can get
haven't.
feedback from people there too.
Yeah, it's on my
I'm
list.
sure
It's
you should
on
do
my list.
it.
Yeah, that's it's one of the things that I'd like to sign up for. But so another thing that happened to me when I don't know how we're doing on time, but another thing
It's okay.
that I noticed when I signed up is that because I hadn't jumped in, I didn't have a whole lot of free time. So one of the things that's really great
Yeah.
about or the experience for me, right, was like, okay, I have all these other responsibilities. I would like to, let go of them, but I'm not ready to yet 'cause it's scary.
Yeah.
And so, but as you do that, right, a lot of these, the events are, but I like that a lot of the events are recorded, so I could kind of go back to them later
Yeah.
and just say, okay, I'm not there yet, but when I'm there, I'll do the recording. And that was really helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, good. Yeah. Of course. I didn't even think about that. Like, you could, like, maybe it's not only does it not work with your schedule or your time zone, but maybe you're just not at that place in your journey yet.
Mhm.
Yeah. I love the replay option too. And people can listen to it as an audio also. So it's nice if you don't have the time to like sit in front of the computer and watch it, you can listen to the audio.
Yeah, kind of like a podcast.
Yeah. Yeah. The Lit podcast, which maybe in the future we'll have one of those separately.
Why
Let
not?
me see, Samar. I could talk all day and ask you tons of questions, and I'm sure people who are going to be watching this later will have questions for you too. But we're going to make sure we have all your contact information for them underneath the video. Um, but why don't you just let us know here too, like where can people find you online if
Yeah,
they'd like to get in
so
touch?
they can find me on my website, samarkhalifeiglesias.com. I'm on Instagram as well, Sámar Khalife Psychologist. Um, I'm on LinkedIn, but I'm not very active on LinkedIn. If you'd like to see my credentials, they're there.
Perfect. Okay. And like I said, we'll have all those, like the links in the bottom. But thank you so much, Summer, for being with us today, telling us a little bit more about your experience. I'm sure this story is going to inspire some other people to feel the fear and do it anyway. At least I hope so.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
Yeah. Have a great day.
Bye.